movies.
Right. Yeah, it was just something you never expected. All right. Notified podcast back in effect. We were out for a hot minute. Life got in the way. As usual, I'm your man, Paul.
And with him, I'm Morgan.
For now, I had to go to a conference. I did manage to see Endgame before I had to leave, and then I had to work that weekend, and then Tuesday I had to go out of town.
Right.
So I only got to see it once.
I've seen it 3 times. I'm already planning to go see it the 4th time.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow afternoon. Whenever I get out of work, maybe I'll hop over there and check it out. But I mean, it was crazy. So we're gonna go over.
Hey, if you do that tomorrow, let me know because I'm off Monday.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
We'll have to go see it together then.
Oh yeah.
So in addition to covering Endgame, we're also gonna be going over kind of like the first 3 episodes of Game of Thrones. I mean, the first 2 episodes were kind of.
I feel like those 2 were they recorded those first 2 at one long span. That's why it kind of felt like it was the same episode.
Yeah. And so we're going to go over that, and then we're going to go over episode 3, which was crazy.
Right.
But first off, we're going to give you a spoiler warning. This is going to be released on Monday, and technically the Russo brothers said that the spoiler ban
lifts Monday,
will lift tomorrow. So
technically it's Monday right now.
I'm going to upload this tomorrow afternoon. So when you're hearing this, good afternoon, and all the spoiler ban should be over because, I mean, if you haven't seen it,
you're still under a rock.
Yeah, because it's already passing $2 billion worldwide.
Dude, collectively the MCU has made over $20 billion.
Yeah, it's just raking it in. There's no stopping it. So when I went to go, man, I hopped in my truck Thursday at 9:30, jetted over.
Saw premiere night.
Yeah. Well, I knew that was going to be my only time.
You got ballsy, man. You were.
Because the rest of the weekend was jacked. I had to go right then. Otherwise, I wasn't going to be able to see it. So, luckily, the girl came in early because I asked her to. Jumped in my truck. Hauled ass over to the next town.
Dude, how fast were you going, though?
I was doing 80. I mean, speed limit was 75, but I was doing 80. I mean, I wasn't doing 100. Yeah. But I was doing a little bit over. And so, I get over to the movie theater, get in. Luckily, they were still taking tickets. It was a 10 o'clock showing. And
see, that's why
when I rolled,
go on your phone, man.
When I rolled in there, man, the parking lot, it was like a dealership, like a car dealership, right? And I was like, man. So I found a place to park, got in, bought my ticket, got a seat on the edge, right at the bottom where in that theater we both go to. There's stadium seating, and then there's a little walkway, and then there's the people that showed up late and didn't fucking get the right seats, right? Like me. Yeah. That was me. That's how I went in there.
I went to go see it Monday with a couple buddies, and it was still we got there. It looked like you said, it was a freaking car dealership, man.
Everybody was going to see it. It was crazy. So
nobody was under a rock this time.
You've seen it 3 times. I've only seen it once. So I'll let you take the lead on what was your impressions of Endgame. And spoiler warning, even though the ban is lifted, spoiler warning. We're going to be talking about everything there's some things that you may already know about, and there's some things that you won't see coming.
Right.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
My review, I mean, it was, for the first time seeing it, you don't really think of the review part because you're sitting there, crying because, I'm Iron Man and freaking snaps his finger.
I mean, so continue. I mean, what do you thought about the movie? What do you thought about the pacing? What do you think about the
pacing? The pacing was really good. The only parts that I thought were slow was after that cold opening with Hawkeye and his family got dusted. After that, they're kind of you see Tony with Nebula. Right. And there's another jump. So when they get to Earth, and the beginning was kind of slow, but then they started picking it up after they went, they did their own separate time machine, time.
The crazy thing is
my theory was right about Quantum Realm.
Well, yeah, your theory was right. But also mine, too, is that they were going to squad up and go after Thanos.
They went hella early, too. They were
Captain Marvel gets there, and they're like, well, let's go get him. You have me now. And, and then you hear Captain America, let's go get this son of a bitch. And so they squad up and go to Titan 2 or the farm.
Minus Tony. They squad up minus.
Right, yeah. Well,
the big guy.
It was just literally days after, I think, the snap.
I think it was 5 minutes after they put him to bed, dude. They were like,
and I knew something was. I didn't know that. Obviously, I didn't know what was going on, but I knew that when they saw him using it, when they saw the same energy signature again,
he destroyed the stones, man.
Right. So I was like, well, it made sense to me at the time because when I saw it, I was like, oh, wait a minute, I get it. I
Now,
get it
see,
now.
when he says,
This is where the quantum realm, and time travel and all this stuff is coming into play. Is because Thanos is like, fuck you guys. I just destroyed all the stones.
I have so when he said, obviously when they, they cut his hand off and they say that there's no stones there, he goes, I only did that for the temptation. Do you think it was it would as time went by when he saw the stones, it'd be more tempting for him to use them again, or is it tempting for like other beings of power like Thanos that are trying to get him? Because he said it was
no. I mean, obviously he had the stones. So nobody was coming for Thanos. I mean, the only reason why they got the drop on him when they went to Titan 2 is because he had already destroyed the stones. He didn't have any weapons.
Well, even then, and he was still deflecting the freaking blast from Captain Marvel. He was right, all, bitch.
Yeah, but
it still hurt him. But
I mean, he's still powerful because that was obvious in the fight at the end.
Yeah.
Because he didn't even have the Infinity Stone, and he was taking on everybody.
I noticed a difference between the two versions of Thanos. So the older one in Infinity War, he thought himself as more of a demigod, right? So he was all, when he told Scarlet, he's like, oh, I understand, my child, what you've lost. He was more of like a benevolent, but yet, still going to kill half of you bitches.
Right.
And this dude, the younger one in 2014, that boy was still bloodthirsty, man. He came onto the ship. Well, yeah,
because I think because that was way before. That was 4 years before his journey, and he was still in like.
Because they said her timestamp was from 9 years, but it's still. But yeah, it's still 4 years.
That's when they went into the future.
Yeah.
Right, when they went into 2023. We're talking. This is 2014, 4 years prior. To Infinity War, where he actually goes after the stones.
But he was young and thirsty, man. He didn't even care because he even said.
And now I thought that was such a great twist. How once they were back in the same timeline, they got hooked up on the same network because she was modified. I was like, yo, what the fuck are they gonna do now?
I didn't even think about that when we were theorizing.
No, that was a total.
I don't think that went over everybody's head.
No, because I remember thinking, and when she started freaking out, I was like, yo, she's connecting to you know. And I was all by myself. I didn't have nobody there.
And Ebony Maw, dude, he freaking duplicated the Pym particle to bring back all of his freaking army. And
I mean, that was a thing, that was another thing that was crazy. I mean, there was just so much stuff.
Dude,
it was just so much. Crazy, it was so much stuff. I mean, from traveling back in time, going back to the 70s, going back to the Avengers when they were 2012 Avengers when they were in there. That was hilarious. The whole interaction.
I freaking love. He goes, I could do this all day. He's like, yeah, I know. God damn.
Yeah. That's how much exhausting must it be. Like when you're around somebody somebody that's just like you. It's like I guess it's like having kids,
right?
And your kids start picking up your phrases and sayings, and it's like, yeah, shut up, I know,
dude. Even that older Cap was like, God, was I that annoying? Shit.
Yeah. But and then it was crazy too. One of the I don't want to keep jumping. So,
dude, this whole movie's about jumping. So we're doing
right.
We're good.
So they squad up. They go after Thanos. Right. They get there and like Thor freaks out, chops his head off. First chops his arm. Yeah, chops his arm off. Then chops his head off, and it was just like, damn. That was violent.
Well, you can tell he was pissed even before before Tony.
And you're like, what'd you do? And he's like, I went for the head. And I was just like, that was a little overkill. I mean, Thanos deserved to die.
Right.
but I don't know. It was just
also
so.
The man
it was so
farming. He was leaving himself.
Yeah, it was so abrupt, right? It was just like,
well,
daughter, I'm like chakwank, and you're like, Jesus Christ, that was for a Disney PG rate for a PG-13 movie.
They pushed it with him and with Hawkeye,
and then they showed just a little bit of his face, of his head, on the ground, because obviously they couldn't show like his, blood, purple blood shooting out,
bro. But even before they squatted up to leave, Iron Man was like, what's his problem? And Rocket's all, well, we all basically failed, so he's going to be pissed because he was the only one that got... He had 6 stones, and Stormbreaker went through that blast and just pierced his shit.
And, the whole Professor Hulk, you called that. I will give you props, but I didn't think it was going to be as hilarious as it was when you first see him. Because he's, like, sitting at the table. He's fucking eating breakfast.
I'm wearing shirts now. It's like...
Wearing glasses. It's like the Hulk don't need fucking glasses, But it was just like kids are taking pictures with him, and then they have that whole interaction between him and Ant-Man. He's like, y'all want to take a picture of me? And they're like, it's like, I don't know. Who is this guy? And he's like, they don't know who you are.
See, they're Hulk fans. They're Hulk. I get it.
Right.
But I like when they went to New Asgard. Because I think, it's still Professor Hulk. So it's still, Bruce and Hulk. But I feel like it's a whole different persona because when he first steps off the truck, he goes, hey, Valkyrie. and then he goes, "Hey, mean girl."
Yeah.
So it's kind of like they're still kind of like pulling to see.
Well, I mean, that's how he said it. They said that they just basically just melded together.
It's like a new entity. It's not even
right. So the memories that the Hulk had when he was on Sakaar,
yeah,
and everything that Banner knew when he was himself.
PhDs.
Yeah, it's just all melded together, and they were just occupying the same space. But that was funny as hell going to New Asgard when they show him in the back of that truck and it's fucking dragging and shooting sparks everywhere. Yeah. I was like, and I was remember laughing. I'm thinking, man, this shit is funny. And then
you see Thor.
Then you see Thor, and I was like,
just crying. You're like,
because here's the thing. God. I mean, I kind of figured that he was going to be down and out, but I never expected Thor.
I don't think anyone expected.
Nobody saw that coming. I mean, if you went over there and you just saw Thor still jacked, because he is a fucking god of thunder.
Yeah, but it still wouldn't have been the same.
No, it wouldn't. No, I agree. Yeah. It wouldn't have had the same impact. Yeah. I totally get that. but when they go in and he gets up, dude, and he's just just fucking, I'm like, I didn't even think you a fucking god of thunder, a fucking demigod could get fat.
Dude, I love how there's still like the reminiscing of the 6-pack is he's got
just like
right there up on the belly,
it's up top, and then everything else it just turns into a keg. I mean, I laughed so hard,
dude.
When it came out.
I laughed harder when they're in the base. They had all the stones in the gauntlet. He goes, "What do you think's running through my what do you think's running through my veins right now?" And Rhodey goes, "Cheese whiz." He's like, "Yup."
It was so out of left field.
Dude, okay, so my girlfriend Michaela, we made her into Marvel fans. She's a big Marvel fan now. She thought the whole movie, other than some parts, were sad. Like, she liked it, but then again, she's like, well, when I go see Marvel, I want to see, them cracking jokes. So they cracked jokes, but it was mainly when they were doing their time missions.
Right.
And she was like, I mean, I liked it, but depressing as shit. That's how she's like, it's depressing as shit.
Well, I mean, yeah, because they just took the biggest L of biggest L's.
Oh, yeah.
There wasn't I mean, and that was
Tom Brady was not there to throw the
there was no fourth quarter comeback. They got stomped into the ground. And so even with them, in the first part going back, and then when he didn't have the stones, I was like, the one thing that threw me off was I didn't expect a 5-year jump. I was thinking maybe a 2-year jump. I was thinking maybe a year.
I was thinking maybe 2 to 3. That 5, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, because what does that do to the timeline now? Where do we pick up in 2023?
See, that's what I was talking to Michaela about.
Because some people are saying that there's probably not even going to be an Avengers movie till 2023. Like, this Phase 4 is going to be more about the Black Panther sequels, Doctor Strange sequels. I want to know
where. So obviously, Far From Home is going to be based after Endgame, right? But it's going to be hard to be a director now for the MCU because it's all going to be in 2023 and after.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because at least that's what Sony is telling us. Yeah. Because unfortunately it's a Marvel movie, but Sony owns the rights to it, so they're gonna make their movie. But how does that fuck with Peter Parker? Because he literally just went away for 5 years, and he comes back and he's supposed to be 16, 17, 17 years old.
Got snapped too. Because in some of the trailers,
at least Ned did. Because unless Ned is dumb and he just failed like 5 years in a row, he's like, I can't graduate without Peter.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna fail intentionally.
School. Yeah, and so.
But so it looks like in the trailers, they all look like they got snapped because none of them look older.
No, in 5 years, I mean.
But see, okay, I want Far From Home. I don't want it to be them brushing off what happened in Endgame. I want to see what's going on mentally in Parker.
Well, they have to acknowledge it. They have to. I mean, especially Peter, because he fucking disappeared for 5 years, and apparently Ned did too.
Well, see, for him, they said, because I think it goes same with the quantum realm. They were only gone for 5 hours, but that 5 hours equals 5 years.
That's not what I'm talking about. The point is like as the world turns, they were gone for 5 years, and so. Whoever didn't get snapped is like graduating fucking college or in graduate school, getting their degree.
They're getting reappeared. They're like, hey,
and they're like still,
in my class? Like,
it's like I'm still a fucking sophomore, but technically, I'm 22 years old. I'm like fucking drinking a Budweiser in school, and they're like, you can't, sir, you're not old enough. He's like, fuck you, I'm 23, buddy, or 21. They'd be 21, so they'd be right at. I keep forgetting that they're like sophomores.
I'd be 26, man.
Right. I'd be, I'd be almost 50. Yeah, I'd be almost 50.
You're like, I don't want to know.
Hold on. We're going to take a Nerdified podcast as I slip into a small depression, knowing that in 5 years I'll be 48 years old.
And your nephew will still be young enough to...
Shut up. So, So yeah, so that's where it's like, man, this is all gonna. How's all this shit gonna start rolling back into play?
Other than that, they closed for the original 6. They couldn't have ended it better for the original 6.
No,
they
I mean,
killed it, man.
So,
Oh, and my mom called that Black Widow was gonna die. She said she was like, she's gonna die. I was like, there's no way. How do you know this?
that caught me by surprise too. So let's before we start going down any more rabbit holes. So the big surprise was, it happens a couple days afterwards. Captain Marvel comes into the picture. They squad up.
Dude, she was a slacker throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, and people were pissed that she was only basically in the movie like 10 minutes and they was hyping it up.
Fight. Yeah,
right.
But
before we jump to the part she got jackhammered by
the power
Thanos.
Stone, dude.
He grabbed that stone out and put it in his fist and just gave her a fucking Mike Tyson uppercut.
Dude, that was like that was like a planetary destructive punch.
Dude,
it was like
it's like they launched a rocket out of fucking Florida. That's how she looked when she caught that biscuit. He didn't even give her a 2-piece. He just gave it straight to the biscuit.
Dude, I love how like he saw it was like this is gonna fuck her up, and dude, he freaking
he just gave her. It was almost like fucking Mortal fucking Kombat the way he
finish her.
Yeah, it's like he got his combo moves up and just kaboom and hit her ass with one good time.
See, now I really wish she had a different weakness, because the freaking Infinity Stones are her weakness. They couldn't have put like.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
that makes her even look more like a bitch, man. Just even needed a.
They touted her as being the most powerful,
and never showed it.
The most powerful character in the Marvel universe, and that's what you thought. That's what we expected in the first part, that she was just going to come in, and then for the most part, she did kind of like go in there and put some hop keto moves on his ass when he's in, and then Thor, chops his hand off. But I expected more of a role, but then they kind of tell you why. Because after, and then it's 5 years later, and they're all reporting in to Black Widow, and they're all at different parts, doing different things. So yeah, I mean,
but still, man, like
the world Kevin still needs protecting, even though like most of the Avengers were gone.
Kevin Feige, he even hyped this movie up a lot too. He's like, well, she's the most powerful being. Like, we only have 2 interactions with her, and the same 2. She just went through a fucking ship. She just kept, went through the ship like it was paper.
Yeah.
Like, give her some more. Give her something more, man. Like,
well,
she's becoming bland.
It seemed like they needed. And I'm not trying to say she didn't deserve a movie. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm saying I really feel like they could have brought her in as being a character in another movie, because I think at one point they thought about bringing her into Civil War, because they're bringing all these people in there.
Well, Civil War, and there was even supposed to be a cameo with her in Age of Ultron. When Scarlet flies down, that was supposed to be Captain Marvel. Yeah,
and so I really think they could have brought her in as part of another movie, and then maybe
give her her own solo.
It just seems like for all that they hyped up,
she didn't live up to the hype.
Well,
to me,
it wasn't her fault.
Yeah,
it was the way the movie was made.
Well, yeah,
it wasn't. It wasn't that she didn't play a good character. I mean, it's kind of hard. It's not really hard to play like a super powerful person. And then you get there and they're like, "Hey, thanks for saving Tony," and then boom, that's it. You don't see her. Right? You don't see her till the last battle. I mean, which was awesome, because we got to see that.
I wish she would have had more of a fight scene though.
We got to see that.
Every once in a while, she threw punches every once in a while at Thanos, but I wanted her fight scene to be a little bit longer, just so we could actually see.
Because where we could, Thanos. I thought he was, this is not just my original opinion. I saw an opinion from another reaction video, and I understand it too, because I thought the same thing. I was like, man, this dude, even without the Infinity Stones, he was just wrecking fools. Yeah. I mean, like Captain America and Thor taking him on. Thor with Stormbreaker, Captain America with Mjolnir.
Oh my god, dude! And
I'm like, look, you have these 2 dudes are packing heat, bro, and Thanos heat. And Thanos is just fighting it off. He's taking shots. He's still in the fight. Yeah.
Freaking Wanda messed him up though too pretty hard.
Oh yeah,
she was the reason why he was like, I don't care about my fucking troops. Killed his bitch.
Yeah, he was like, yo, just send the missiles, send everything. Yeah. Oh man, there was just so much.
His
There was so much to
sword,
go over.
His sword was basically freaking Mjolnir. He's freaking throwing that shit and catching it again.
Yeah, I kind of wondered if it was made out of Uru, because it was just like because they were thinking, man, he was super overpowered, and I'm like, I knew that.
I mean, I get he's younger.
No,
his sword was like.
But it's not even like, I understand that he's a bad dude.
Yeah.
I understand that he's super jacked. Because apparently he took on the Hulk without even being juiced up with the Power Stone in Infinity War. So I kind of expected him to give up a fight.
Yeah.
But I really never expected him to be taking on everybody.
Up this much of a fight, dude. He took on everybody.
Especially when you had him, because when you see him take Stormbreaker, at the end of Infinity War. And you're thinking, fuck, he had all 6 Infinity Stones, and here he is, getting jacked at the end of the movie. So I was expecting him without him, that Thor was going to go in there and wreck up on him. And then you see him and Cap
he just
both wielding.
Stormbreaker, almost fucking kills him with it.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, this dude, I don't even know if he needed the fucking Infinity Stones to kill half the universe. He could have just kept trucking. I think the Infinity Stones were just like an expressway.
Right.
It's like,
it was jewelry too, because he had that nice, pretty gold.
Yeah, it's like I could take 15, 16 years to kill everybody in the universe,
but
if I get these 6 Infinity Stones, I can just like that. But man, the endings.
I like the comparison. So Infinity War, he was using his left hand, right? That's that was his hand. And Tony straight up just using the opposite hand, because he used his left hand to destroy the universe, and Tony's using his right hand to bring back everybody.
Well, yeah, because I mean that's just going to be symbolism as far as like.
Well, that's all I was trying to get at.
In movies, because I mean, and they do that shit all the time, So you wear in the Infinity War, he has a left-handed gauntlet that he uses to destroy half the universe, and then Tony uses his right hand to bring it back. I mean, it almost it's like anytime in art.
Infinity got look dope as shit though. To be honest, like it was all like the nanotech.
Yo,
and
when
shit,
he snatched the stones out of the gauntlet, and then like I remember
the sleight of hand was like
I literally held my breath because I knew this was it. I knew at that moment, that moment that Tony was done. I was like, yo, he is fixing to fucking die.
Bro, I don't care how old you are. If you did not cry at that part,
no, for real. When he was standing there and you saw the stones creeping up his arm into his hand, and I'm like, he's gonna fucking die. I remember I just said it out loud.
Because he even saw
there's like this chick next to me, and she's like, he's gonna die.
Well, you saw even before he slapped his hands, it was already affecting him, dude. All that shit was climbing up his arm. It was getting up to his neck.
Look how it fucked up Professor Hulk.
Right.
But here's the thing. This is what we found out in the later part of the movie. Why it fucked him up so much is because he wasn't trying to bring back a person that died from the snap. He was trying to actually bring somebody that was dead, and he was trying to bring back Black Widow. That's why it was fucking him up.
Okay, well that, and so I'm gonna compare it to Infinity War again. So, Thanos had an Uru gauntlet. I was able to withstand some of the energy, right?
Right.
And also he was able to put them in one at a time. And then in freaking Endgame, they said they had like a power to like light up a whole freaking continent, and expected Hulk to just slip it on and be all happy and be.
Well, yeah, but
that was a lot of freaking.
But here's the thing, he wasn't trying to undo anything that was done from the gauntlet. He was trying to bring back in that because what the hell was that?
I don't know.
Did you bust ass, bro, in my studio?
It's this cap right here.
Oh. So. Yeah, so that's why it was jacked him up, and he got even at the end of the movie. When they're at Tony's funeral, he's still in a fucking sling.
Yeah.
But I mean that.
I was really hoping for this movie for Thanos and Hulk to have a rematch. I know it wouldn't be technically a rematch, but it'd still be like like I wanted to see. At
least get in a lick, bro.
Yeah, I wanted to see. Him do
even
more.
If it's a sucker punch.
Right. I don't give a fuck how he got that hit.
I mean, it's not like you sucker punching Captain America.
Right.
You sucker punching Thanos. Everybody's gonna be like, oh damn,
right.
Damn, Hulk.
Punched, son.
Yeah, and I don't think it'd be like, ooh, man, but he deserved it. It'd be different if he just, sucker punched somebody else.
Literally, all he was doing was beating the shit out of his, underlings. I wanted to see him go toe to toe with Thanos.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of fan service.
Disappointment. That's what I'm gonna call him now.
It was a lot of fan service, but it was also, I mean, some of it even though it was 3 hours, it felt like it wasn't that long.
Right? It felt like.
I mean, I didn't have a drink. I didn't buy one. I literally parked my truck, walked in, bought a ticket, went and got a seat. I didn't get soda or popcorn or anything.
When me and my girlfriend went to go see it, we got one. But I was preparing like I was going for a fight. I'd be like, that was like the first hour drink.
Yeah, just
the second hour drink.
Yeah, just the wet. You ain't even drinking the. You just not even tasting it. You're just like getting enough moisture in your mouth to keep you from having to cough.
By the time that movie ended, I still like almost like a whole soda left, and like it just watered down. So I was like.
Yeah,
just drink the rest of it.
I just said it. I sat there the whole time. I didn't eat popcorn. I didn't smuggle any snacks. I didn't even take a dip or drink. I just sat there and I just watched that 3-hour movie. Sometimes I didn't even think I blinked for 3 hours. I was
same, dude. The week before it opened, I was like preparing for a fight. It was like I'm gonna start drinking, lower liquids, not enough food, so I don't have to poop or pee. Yeah. I was like trying. So like by the time this movie came around,
I remember I was so excited when my relief got there, so I could leave work. She got there like I asked her to be there at 30 minutes before.
Yeah.
She actually got there like 25 minutes. So that 5 minutes, I dropped a piss, and I was so excited. I was like, I'm gonna pee. I don't even have to pee when I get there. I can just buy, and I literally went to the ticket booth and just walked right down to the alley to the ticket taker. And they wouldn't even doing it, in that theater we go to. They kind of do it right there at the beginning of the.
They don't do that anymore. I don't think.
No, there was the manager was taking tickets like at the theater door, like the whatever
shit.
number 6.
Yeah.
And I went in there and I looked up, man, and it was almost full in the stadium part. And I looked over and I'm like, shit, I guess I'm in the lower level. So I went over and I got the seat on the corner.
Accepted your fate. Destiny.
And luckily it was on the corner, so I could cock and I kind of sit to the side, and I was able to see,
relax and chill,
all of that stuff going on. So yeah, I mean,
okay. So there's one thing I forgot who I was texting earlier, but he was like, "Dude, I kind of wanted Okoye to go to the time missions." I was like, there would be no point for her to go.
No,
there was
she didn't
no
even.
point. She's not even original 6. She didn't show up until phase 3.
Yeah, well, and plus, she's a warrior, and there's a lot of warriors, but they needed somebody. She was already doing work.
Well, see, she's
for
the general,
Black Widow.
Yeah, she was already general for the Wakandan army, so they needed someone with power to stay there, so they can keep the people calm, even though half their family got dusted or however many. But I was like, dude, there would be no point for Okoye to go through the time missions with him.
And when you see Scott Lang come out. When that rat touches the deal and he gets shot out of it, man. That rat
saved the universe. I don't care what anybody says.
That was all over like Reddit and Twitter the next day, and it's just like pictures of Mouse and it's like hashtag true hero,
right?
Or the real hero of Endgame,
right?
I even posted that meme where it shows that taco.
Avenge the Fallen.
Yeah, when Ant-Man is trying to eat his taco and fucking the ship lands and Rhodey scares the shit out of him and then the Hulk comes by and drops him. And he's like holding 2 tacos like I get a pinch of snuff. And he's like, here you go, buddy.
Dude, it was my first watch. It was weird watching Hulk like that. Like it was like the nicest Hulk I've ever seen. It was like, this is not, where's the savage part?
Oh man, remember when he went back to the 2012 and he's like, you got to be angry, and he's like,
just slightly hit stuff and throw stuff.
He's just phoning it in. Yeah, he's just phoning it in. He's not even. But what was crazy though is like when they go up to the top of the penthouse of where Tony is at the end. After they get Loki,
and we can stand around pose later.
Right, and so they were like, no room in the elevator, you got to take the stairs, and he's like, Hulk hates stairs.
He's like, no, don't punch. He freaking punches that.
Yeah, and then that's the reason why it gets jacked up at the end is because Tony has the Tesseract, and then the Hulk comes out from the stairs, and he's like, Hulk hates stairs.
Everyone's like, oh shit.
And then Loki grabs the Tesseract and just pieces out.
That's the 2012. That's the 2012.
Well, I know, that's what I'm saying.
But yeah, that boy's still alive. And
they say that little moment right there is it's what gonna lead you to the Loki series on Disney Plus.
Could be, yeah.
It's like how he's still alive that's gonna be that branch of the timeline. And I really thought, and another really good part of that movie was the Ancient One.
That's America's ass.
That and Professor Hulk and the Ancient One on top of the Sanctum. I thought that was a really cool scene because. She was just like...
That's probably one of the most important scenes in the movie.
She was like... She knew right away. She was like, yo, you ain't from here. And he was like, no, this is what we need.
You bit like a 5 years too late.
And then she gave him the old 2-piece and a biscuit and knocked him out of his form.
That was the Hulk too, dude. She bitch slapped him.
Yeah,
dude.
she wasn't even fucking around, man. She just like hit that boy and he just like left his body. I was like, damn, she is cold. I can't believe that she even now you know now, but later on she dies, right? And I'm like, man, if she could just like punk the Hulk, I'm like, how's she just getting taken down? Yeah, how's she getting taken down in Doctor Strange? Yeah. And it's like, hey, I got this bald-headed lady in a raincoat. She finna put it down. She finna put that ass whooping down on Thanos. It's like they don't even need the stones. You bring the chosen one or the ancient one.
That's their Georgie in her raincoat.
Yeah, but man, and then the endings obviously. Then we have to talk about Hawkeye and Black Widow go to Vormir and they go to get the Soul Stone.
That was Civil War Part 2. Fighting for who?
Oh yeah,
that was like Civil War.
Well, I was all prepared. I was all prepared for her to die, or not her to die, because that took me by surprise. I was expecting Clint from the get.
Oh yeah, well me too.
That Clint was going to go up there and he was going to sacrifice himself because he had turned into Ronin and he had done all this horrible shit. And then to see Natasha sacrifice herself, I was like, no.
When they first got there, right? You know how he announces, who you're the son or daughter of. I kind of got the hint that she was gonna die because he knew her father or her father's name, but she was when she heard her father's name, she was all, "That's my dad's name, really?" Like, she was like,
"Yeah, that was like something they didn't expect."
Yeah,
and
I think even she knew she was gonna do it too because she's like, "Well, he knew my father, I didn't." And all the shit she's done, she's still wiping red off of her ledger. I don't care what people say; they're still red on her ledger.
Yeah, those 3 deaths, man. I really didn't think Iron Man took me by surprise.
Oh yeah, he took
I really expected, especially when Captain America, when they were on the second go around when they're at the Avengers facilities, and he's just getting mopped.
Yeah,
I mean Thanos is straight murking this dude. But he keeps getting up, bro. He keeps getting up.
He finally said Avengers Assemble. Dude, I flipped shit when he finally said that. He was all like, Avengers, and he got the Mjolnir.
Yeah, I had like I got a little half a nerd boner when he said that.
Right. Yeah, I was like, that's fucking Captain America. If anyone else said that would
that and when he when he grabbed Mjolnir. Yeah.
Dude,
when he had the hammer and he was just going, he was doing work on Thanos. He was giving
Thanos ass.
He was giving Thanos that work, son. And I was just like, yo, this is it. These are the 2 guys that are going to take him down. And then Thanos just kept coming back. I was like, Jesus,
how much the vibranium shield, dude?
Yeah, I was like, how much punishment can the dude take? He don't even have the stones, and he's still giving out ass whoopings. That just shows you how powerful he was.
But dude, Cap, when he said Avengers, he caught it all dramatically, and he came back. Assemble. I lost my shit. I was drunk, losing my shit. That's Captain America.
Right, because if I'm wrong, right? So Tony has his little matchup with Thanos. No, who brings everybody back?
It's Strange and Wong. Those are the people.
No. I mean, who makes the snap to actually bring everybody back?
That was Hulk.
Yeah, and so Hulk got jacked, and then
he had his hero moment.
Right, and that was part of his deal was he was trying to bring back Nat, and it was like, no, that was a natural death.
But see, if he would have done that, the snap wouldn't have worked.
No, I agree.
Yeah, because the Soul Stone would have shut down. It was like, nah, bitch, you can't snap anybody else now.
But man, it was absolutely nuts. And then that scene where all the little things the circle started to open,
the
and
sling ring people coming in,
the sling ring, and it was just giant. And that just shows you how
vast this universe is.
How vast it is, and then how fucking powerful Doctor Strange is. I mean, I know he had help, and then I know he had other people from the Sanctum from different areas. But it was like an assault. And then, that last 20 minutes.
Been the best Marvel fight scene in any Marvel movie.
When you have all the good guys and all of the bad guys, and they're just coming at each other, and it's like a full-scale war. I was just like, man, how do these motherfuckers do this? Because it was absolutely nuts. Man, there was just shit going on everywhere. And that's why I want to go see it again, because I feel like there's a lot of shit that I didn't even take in because it was so overwhelming.
That third time I saw it, right? Finally for me, the third time I was able to just relax and like look at for Easter eggs.
Yeah.
So you know how Howard.
See, I haven't even seen it. I still need to go back and watch it twice, just to see.
So you know how Howard the Duck has showed up twice in the Guardians movies,
right?
Dude, he shows up a third time in Endgame, and he has like this big ass gun when he's coming through the portal.
See, I didn't even see that.
Whack, whack.
I was just my eyes were just doing this. It was like I was trying to see everything at once. So yeah, definitely got to go tomorrow afternoon.
Was crazy.
I want to definitely go before school's out, because I want to be putting up with them punk ass kids up in there making noises and shit. But man, and then the ending to see Captain America. See, now they explained it the other day on the video that Captain America went back to the 40s.
I wonder if he kept the Soul Stone just for safekeeping when he came back.
No, I think he returned them all. I mean, at least as far as we know. But people were wondering, well, how is he old in the present? And it's because
time went through him. I think after when he came back, he let
no, when he went back to return the Tesseract.
Yeah.
He just stayed, and that created his own timeline.
Yeah.
And then he traveled back.
But then he came back to the main timeline.
He came back to the main timeline. Yeah, and he was an old man.
Yep.
So, but yeah, seeing him.
I feel like their dance should have been like the post-credit scene. That would have been the most meaningful post-credit scene.
Yeah, but I understand the point why they didn't want to have one, because it was a bookend. There was no more movies. Yeah. I mean, there's more movies, but there's no.
Not another movie.
As far as there's no more Infinity Saga coming our way.
Nope.
This is just like an end of an era. So I understand their point of why they didn't want to do it. But
dude, one of the most badass Marvel movies ever made.
From beginning to end, it was just, it had me hooked. Like I said, I know I probably blinked, but it felt like I never blinked for the entire movie. And it was just, and like I said, there's not even, for trying to keep it, we're almost at, 40 minutes, and we could probably talk for another 2 hours.
Oh, we could talk for the whole movie span time.
But,
we could talk for 3 hours.
If you haven't seen it, what's wrong with you? First off, what the hell's wrong with you?
Right.
If you're a Marvel fan.
Better go before that.
Yeah, because then, tomorrow it's just going to be crazy. Everybody's going to be dropping all kind of crazy shit. So, this is going to be the end of part 1. I didn't expect us to run 37 minutes talking about Endgame. But when we come back...
Hey, we didn't go down the rabbit holes this time.
No, when we come back, we're going to talk about Game of Thrones. Stay tuned. That's the case that my recorder came to. And welcome back to part 2 of this podcast, as we get into the Game of Thrones. So, as I said on a previous video, it was a long, you had the first couple of setups,
Yeah.
Everybody is assembled in Winterfell. They're, amassing their forces. They're making preparations. And so you had all this interaction of people meeting up with each other.
Yep.
And that was all fine and good. We needed that.
Is the big woman still here? Yeah.
And then, my favorite part of the whole thing was watching Brienne get knighted by Jaime.
Right. Dude, my favorite, he tells that whack-ass story to fucking Jaime. You know why they call me Giant Spain?
Yeah. I thought that was, it was funny, but, if they cut that out, I'd have been fine. Yeah. It would have been funnier for him to just sit there and just start drinking that goat's milk out of that horn, and it just be like he was drinking it. You didn't even need the story. Just watching him drink that milk would have been funny enough. But yeah,
you gotta love
all the reunions were awesome. And then, like I said, my favorite part, and the part that I teared up about, was watching Brienne get knighted.
I teared up when that little girl that looked like Shuri came to Davos. That's where I teared up.
No, that hit me in the feels as well, because I was just like, yo.
Well, because you could see it in Davos' face.
Why they doing the Onion Knight that way, yo?
Right?
Because as soon as he saw that girl and he saw that burn on her face, you knew he was gonna think of Shireen. Yep. And I was like, you dirty son of bitches, why y'all do that to my man? And then the other awkward part of that was watching Arya take her clothes off. Bro, dude, I felt like
she's mean, man. She's all, get your ass back on that.
You know what I felt like when she started doing that? My reaction, how I felt in my gut, is like, say if I was over at your house and I walked to see where you were, and I walked into your room where your sisters were, and they were changing clothes. That punch in the gut, that's what I felt when she started taking off her clothes. It wasn't like
awkward.
It wasn't like, oh my God, look at that ass. It was like, oh my God, look at her ass.
Cover it up. Jesus.
Yeah, I looked away. My brother's like, what are you doing? I was like, I can't watch it. It's like I'm watching Morgan's, or little sisters like change clothes.
Right.
I was like, it's so gross.
Bro, I would have been like, hey, John, you might want to come down here. Come down here. You might need to kill Gendry before the dead could kill him.
Yeah, I mean, favorite parts were some of the reunions. Bran, especially in the first one where he's like, we don't have time for this. They broke through the wall. They resurrected your dragon.
Dude,
I love
in the episode he goes, I'm gonna go now. I'm like, bitch, where? Like, Walmart? Like, it's Whataburger?
Like, you ain't Professor X, motherfucker. You can't wheel off nowhere. I loved it. I keep laughing because I remember when we watched the premiere at your house and your mom was like, I wish they would just wheel him into a closet. I was like, for real, because Bran is just a
Debbie Downer.
He was a Debbie Downer.
He's like, hey, one of your children are now dead. Is back alive, but with the wrong team.
And so that was kind of like basically episode 1. They didn't
1 and 2 are the same episode, I feel.
Yeah, and I think, and it, like I remember saying in like my first episode review of Game of Thrones was like, I didn't want to spend an absorbent amount of time focusing on Jaime returning,
which they didn't. Thank
to Westeros.
God.
Yeah, it was kind of over and done with, and I was like, okay, cool, let's move on.
But even still, in some of the conversations they went back to it, I was like, dude, it's just, we get it. He killed some people the way he shouldn't have killed people.
Yeah, and he was like, yo, we was in a war. Yeah, I was fighting for my family.
I'd do it all again too.
Yeah, I'd do the same shit again. And I was like, yeah, well, I mean, you can't fault the guy because everybody in that room has done shit for their family.
No one could have guessed that she was actually gonna cross the sea and take shit.
No, nobody knew that she was gonna do that. And so but that was a good thing. That was the one thing about Jaime was Jaime kind of figured it out. And he kind of had that Jon Snow moment where he's like, yo, when that fucking thing came out of that box when they were at the dragon pit, I think that's when Jaime kind of figured out, like, yo, this shit is for real. Well, we got to do something.
He's like, well, I already told you I'm going to fight for the living, and I tend to keep that promise.
Yeah. And I love that arc. I love that arc that he's taken from being like a total douche canoe in season 1 to being this guy that against knowing that if he shows up to Winterfell, knowing that he's going to show up alone.
Oh yeah.
And knowing that nobody in that motherfucker likes him. Nobody likes him. Maybe Bran, but maybe Brienne and Bran were the only 2 people that were like, nah, he's cool. Everybody else was like, fuck this dude, and he went anyway. And I thought that was admirable. That's an admirable thing for him to do, knowing that he could straight up go into Winterfell and get murdered.
I feel like with the 2 characters, Jaime and Jon, we might. Jon might not say it, but I feel like he kind of looks up to Jaime in a bit, just because he's in a family, he's full.
Yeah, well, you saw that in season 1. Like, there was definitely respect between the 2 of them, but it was that kind of like bastard golden child kind of reaction.
That was before he even knew he was a Targaryen,
right?
And they were both still kind of respecting each other, but still kind of had a measure for a bit. See who.
I mean, even when Jaime was like in his total, douche, he was full blown douche. He was still kind of a good guy because even, when he lost his hand and that humbled the hell out of him.
Yeah, I think if you lose anything,
I mean, for him that was a seminal moment for Jaime.
That's where his arc began.
That was the tip of the arc. He started low, being an asshole, and then when he got humbled and lost his hand and jumped into the pit to help Brienne. I was like, that's when you saw the downhill side of him turning into a decent guy.
And when he came back to King's Landing after losing his hand, you saw how his eyes were open. Cersei doesn't give a shit about him.
No.
She doesn't give a shit about anybody except herself.
And, that was a hell of a gamble she took, thinking that they were going to win. I mean, it makes sense now that she took that gamble because it was like, well, if they win, they would have won, but haven't lost a ton of soldiers.
Well,
so they were going to be any kind of formidable opponent, when they come from King's Landing.
Well, she's lucky that the dead didn't win because that would have been over 1 million people dead coming out her doorstep.
No, for real. No, and I think that was it was a slick gamble for her to take for her because I was talking to a guy I work with and we were like, well, obviously they're going to lose at Winterfell, and then what's the next move? And my thought was that they were gonna retreat to Harrenhal.
Yep. See,
or they were gonna retreat to the Iron Islands.
Yeah.
It was either one of the two, because remember in season 4 when the Hound and Arya showed up at Harrenhal, they basically lay out to you that there's only one way in and one way out,
Like
and then
there's
that
no
would
way
have
for anyone to get out of there alive. Or
they would have held up at Harrenhal, and then they would just created a kill box right there for them to take on, and you could have Drogon and Rhaegal coming from both ends and just wrecking shit the whole time.
Dude, she almost lost both of her dragons.
Yeah, that
she got real cocky with Drogon though.
Those scenes. So yeah, man, it's crazy. So now we get to episode 3, the long night. Everybody's preparing for the battle. Right at the drop off at episode 2, they the dead has already arrived. And man, when they send the Dothraki toward, the darkness.
One by one, those flames go
and then
out.
Melisandre crazy ass shows up and lights all the swords. I really got pumped. I was like, yo, this is not going to be
they're about to fuck shit up.
Yeah, I thought, man, this is not going to go the way I thought it was. I was like, they may have a good chance to win, because she, lights up the swords and they're like ready to fucking pounce.
And then one by one, you see all those lights just...
Yeah, just like you saw them all light up when she grabbed that first sword, you start seeing them sporadically start to go out in the distance, and I was like, oh, shit.
Dude, it actually gave me chills watching that part. I was like, oh, fuck. That was almost all the Dothraki, wasn't it? That was all the Dothraki.
Yeah, there wasn't but a few of them that came back. I mean, they all got their asses whooped and got killed.
The droid came back and was like, fuck that shit.
Yeah, that look on his face, when he comes back, and they're like... And Tormund is like, huh? And he's like,
you don't
like,
go back there. Don't.
Nah, it didn't go as we thought it was going to go. And I was like, wow, that's really crazy, because there's a lot of Dothraki that went out there and got their asses kicked. And then, man, it was like total World War Z.
Right.
When they finally met the Unsullied, when the swarm came in, and they were just literally, it was like a wave.
Yeah,
a wave of fucking zombies, and I was just like, holy shit. And then,
well, I totally forgot before that episode how many of them actually got resurrected at Hardhome. How many of them got,
yeah,
there was a fuck ton of them, dude.
And they were coming in hot, and I was just like, wow. I was like, and then I started thinking, I was like, I was right, they're gonna lose here. And they're going to have to regroup somewhere. And then everybody's fighting. It was almost like Endgame in a sense that it was like a super team, and they were just all at different areas fighting their own battles. Yeah. And you see Arya, she's fucking shit up in that episode, she was going ham with that fucking double-edged spear, and I was like, and we thought it was going to shoot something. No, she just wanted to fucking break apart so she'd have like double swords, and she's just like wrecking fools.
Dude, for how silent she was, dude, that was probably one of the most badass scenes. How silent she was in that library.
Oh yeah, for real. I was like, I really thought she was done.
Oh yeah, me too.
I thought this was it.
When the blood was dripping, when she was on the table.
Yeah, when she took that knock and she was disoriented and she had to like retreat to kind of get her bearings. I thought this is it, because they're gonna get her in that library.
Well, I love how they have at one point, the Hound's all like, dude, fuck this, we're gonna lose. And Beric's all, come on, man, come on, we gotta fight. He's like, no, fuck you, dude. The dead are gonna kill us. We're gonna lose. And you see her like just fucking come flying out of nowhere.
And he's like, tell her that. And I really like that scene, because you saw the Hound, dig his head out of his pull his head out of his ass and figure out like, yo, we gotta fight. And it was just, there was so much stuff going on, and then you had Jaime and Brienne up in the battlements, and even stuff that was, taking place down in front, of Winterfell, where they were just
hacking shit, dude.
It was just one on top of each
other.
I
really thought a lot more people were gonna die, but it was only like, so Viserion died, Jorah died, and I hear the Ghost is still alive too, because shows up in the trailer.
Yeah. No, he was in the trailer. He didn't die. Yeah, you saw him running out there. And then
I thought a lot more people were going to die. Like, I thought Jaime and Brienne were going to die together when they're pinned up against the wall.
I didn't think both of them were going to die. I really thought that one was going to save the other.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think that, here's the thing. The fact that they didn't lose, right? And they killed the zombies and they killed the Night King and they survived the long night. It's going to set them up that they're going to die. Some more are going to die. Yeah. Obviously, because there's.
But I love Jorah's moment. He died. That was where he was always been by Dany, no matter what.
He died always doing what he wanted to do, protecting his queen, and it was just such
he did that to the very end too. And even Drogon was like, "Shit, man, we lost."
Yeah, man, that was one of the best parts. I mean, that watching Jorah defend Daenerys, watching her pick
With
up a
Heart's
sword,
Bane,
yeah,
he was all,
just wrecking house with that Valyrian steel sword, and watching
she was wrecking
her
shit too, and she had that sword out.
Yeah, when she got up and she was doing her own thing, trying to protect herself, and then
would have helped if she didn't park Drogon in the freaking ghetto.
Well, I mean, they just were in that giant ass fucking dragon battle too.
Dude, I legitimately thought the dead were gonna kill Drogon, dude. He was all, because even when he was flying, he was still shaking them off. He was all, "Fuck off me, kids."
No, yeah, he was doing the Harlem Shake as he was flying off the ground and throwing motherfuckers off. But I was like,
even when he was flying, there'd be one landing right next to Danny. She was like, "That's my boy."
Yo, and then what is
Mormont,
it? Lyanna Mormont. That was the most boss.
She had the most badass death scene, dude.
And then if you watch like the after scenes and when the new creators were talking about it, and they were having the smallest character had the biggest death. I was like, yeah, that was definitely
she took
true.
On a fucking giant and won.
And she caught that backhand, was all fucked up, and she got up and he picked her up and was crushing her, and she pulls that dragon glass dagger and jabs that motherfucker in the eye. I was like, yeah.
But see, as soon as she showed up on her first scene of Game of Thrones, you knew she was gonna do something badass, because she was badass even without fighting.
Yeah, even before they broke the wall and got into Winterfell, she's like fucking commanding people left and right. I was just like, real. Man, this little she ain't playing around. She's off the hook.
See, there was a part of me that knew she was gonna have like a badass death scene, but I thought it was gonna be like out on the field or something like that. She's gonna have people around her. She'd be.
I mean, it made sense for her not to be out there because that was too much chaos. Yeah. They'd have washed over her like a fucking kid in the ocean. You know what I mean?
All right.
But yeah, I really like that. That her end. I mean, what's crazy now is she's dead. Jormon, or what's his name?
Which one?
The guy with Daenerys.
Jorah.
I don't know why I call his name is Jorah Mormont. I called him Jormont. It was like he was dating somebody.
Right.
Yeah, watching Jorah die and then watching her die. Now there's no rightful leader on Bear Island.
I love how he was like, "You need to be down in the crypt." She goes, "No, fuck that. I'm gonna be up here fighting, man. You can't tell me what to do."
I mean,
even Jorah was like, "Shit, I can't make her change her mind."
No. I mean, he really couldn't. I mean, he kind of been disowned by his daddy. His daddy went to the wall. I mean, she was legitimate. Even if he wasn't legitimate, being that she was the leader of the House Mormont, he had to listen to what she said anyhow. I
love it. Dude, he was kicking ass with that Heartsbane, man.
He was doing work, man. When they were out front and he come out of nowhere, I knew it was coming too, because you see Dany starting to get surrounded and then the head gets chopped off and it's Jorah, and I was like,
"That's my boy.
This is it. This is it for him."
That was the Iron Man of the group.
Yeah, that was him going down. I knew that was at the beginning of the end for him. That was going to be his moment. That he was going to come in, and he was going to fight to save her. But
I just love the poetry of his death, dude.
I mean, he did
to the very end. Even when he wasn't with Dany, you could tell he wanted to be with Dany.
Right, he was doing what he wanted.
Yeah,
he wanted to serve her. He was in love with her. Even if it wasn't the same requited love that he wanted from her. Yeah. She loved him like a father, like as a protector. He wanted romantic love.
He was probably one of the better deaths, other than, Little Mormont.
Yeah, Little Bear. And then we see, Dolores Ed saving Sam.
And then Sam just sat there and then watched him die. I was like, Sam, you could have done a little bit more.
Sam was out of his element, man. Yeah. He should have been in the crypt. I mean, realistically, being what happened in the crypt. He would have
felt bad because he wasn't out there physically protecting little Sam and Gilly.
Right. But nobody knew at the time that shit was going south in the crypts anyway.
Right.
And
dude, I laughed so hard. Those motherfuckers hiding, surrounded by death. They're like, "Yeah, we're safe in here. There's no way he can resurrect it." It's like,
and I really thought that would have been too much for them to bring the dead out that was in the crypt.
Right.
But when that hand started, and some people say that it wasn't even the people in the crypt, that it was actually just the outside digging their way in. But I really felt like it was the dead people in the crypt.
I know this is bad because I know there's a lot of Sansa fans out there. She was the only character I wanted to die in that crypt. I was like, let her go down with a sword in her throat or something.
You know, I really think that her, if Tyrion survives and she survives, I really think there's something there.
Right, even though she says it's not going to work out.
Because technically, they're still kind of married.
Yeah, and in every scene that Tyrion and Sansa share in, Tyrion brings out the better in Sansa. She's not as much as a bitch when she's around him, you know?
Right, you know, they have that kind of like moment there when they're hiding behind that crypt like little bitches. And then, you know,
God, I wanted one of them just to reach over there and slit her throat.
Tyrion kisses her hand, and like, I really thought that they were going to come out swinging.
Right.
But then nothing happened.
Right? I was like, what's that build up for? They going to Whataburger afterwards? Or?
Yeah, I thought they were really going to come out and like, die protecting the people in the crypt, and it's like nothing.
They just sat there.
I was like, all that shit for nothing. They're just going to sit there and wait for everything to pass.
When she entered the crypt, I kind of got the sense of the Blackwater scene when Cersei is sitting there with her hens or whatever she says.
Right.
Except she wasn't as much as a bitch as Cersei was, but I kind of got that sense.
I really thought they were going to have like a hero moment in there, and it's just like, nope, they're just going to stay there.
That build up just dispersed into nothingness.
Yeah, and then all the scenes that took place inside with the Hound and Beric, and them going after to save Arya.
Yeah.
I mean, those are really good. Watching Beric, I mean, I knew that once he threw his
that
sword,
boy was still fighting, and he was getting stabbed everywhere, man.
He threw his sword, that was it for him.
Yep.
And I really, when he threw that sword, I really thought, and I was like, this is it. He's going down. He's going to be a death because
he went down like a boss.
He went for sure. He went down like a boss.
Deaths.
And then they walk into that room, and that's when, Melisandre's there, and they're like, she's like, remember when I told you that you would close green eyes and brown eyes and blue eyes?
What do we say to the god of death?
Not today. And then when she runs off, I'm like, where in the fuck is she going? Because I really thought...
I wanted Jon to kill.
Well, no, and me too. Well, it's not that I wanted Jon to kill him. I just felt like that was the way that it was going to go.
Yeah.
That it was going to be, because especially when they're...
3 epic stare downs throughout the whole series.
when they're on the field and the Night King is headed toward the weirwood tree, going for Bran, and you see Jon running after him, and then he stops and turns around, and you see him start to raise his hands, and like Jon starts running. Yeah.
The Night King pulled the biggest bitch move you can pull.
And so when Jon is running toward him, I'm like, this is it. This is the showdown. This is where they're going to battle.
And he was like, not today.
And then he gets surrounded, and I'm like, oh, you bitch. It's like, really? But Theon.
I loved his death, too. He had a good resurrection. He had a good redemption arc.
Yeah, I mean, his arc was, I would say, dare I say, was almost better than Jaime's. Because,
in a sense, because he killed 2 random kids, burnt them to where no one can see him.
Well, I mean, Jaime did push Bran out of the fucking window because he caught him, tagging his sister.
His kids survived.
But, it was similar arcs, right?
Yeah.
And so I really thought it was a good, especially, after him and Sansa had that reunion moment when he comes in. And she kind of figures out that he left the Iron Islands to come and fight for House Stark. I
love how Bran tells him, thank you, and you're a good man.
Yeah.
And that's when Theon was like, well, if I'm gonna die, I might as well charge at the main
when
guy.
Bran says that to him, you can see the look on Theon's face is like, well, this must be it. This is where I go.
Yep.
And he runs and he charges at the Night King.
Fuck it. Middle of the battle, Theon's talking to Bran. He goes, how do you know there's gonna be a tomorrow or whatever? I'm like, dude, I'm gonna shank you myself if you don't stop. Like,
here we go again with Debbie Downer fucking ruining the mood.
Oh my god, I just want to snap his neck.
Would it kill him to give him a little coach pep talk?
Right? Shit.
If he went back in time, he hadn't saw the scenes where Jon was like, I haven't forgotten my dad. If dead or alive, let's give these fuckers a fight.
Right?
At least he could have given something to,
and all we get is, I'm going to go now.
Yeah.
Bitch, I'm going to shank you when you're working. I don't give a fuck. I would take that from Night King too.
First he started out, dropping fools with the arrows, and he picks up the spear, and he's just like wrecking everyone that comes even close to Bran.
Oh yeah.
And then you see the White Walkers come in,
and then just stop.
And then you knew what they were waiting for. They were waiting for Big Daddy White to come walking in.
Big Daddy P.
And he comes in, And then I was like, oh, this is where Theon goes.
At least he went down trying to take down the bad guy, like the main guy.
Like I really in that scene, in the last scene, I really thought that it was gonna be Jon that kind of comes in, when the Night King,
his fucking stomach.
Well, the Night King was gonna pull a sword out and he was gonna strike Bran down, and when he went for that downward swing, it was gonna be Longclaw that chink, blocked the shot.
Dude,
and then they were gonna have their sword fight to the end, and then all of a sudden,
Night King wasn't gonna have any of the guys come at him. It's gonna be 1-on-1, but no.
Right,
no.
and then you see,
it's gotta be fucking.
And then I love that scene. I mean, it was so out of left field. I never expected it to come. Right. And then you see that one White Walker, his hair blows, and he kind of looks like, what the fuck is that? Yeah. And then you see the Night King, and then all of a sudden you see Arya come out of the dark. And then when he turns around and grabs her, and I'm like, oh shit, what is going to happen now? And then she does that move that she did on Brienne when they were training, drops the dagger with the other hand, and just jabs him right in the heart. I was like, holy shit. I remember, me and my brother were watching, and I was like, holy shit.
My mom lost her shit when Arya did that.
Really?
I was pissed off. She was happy. I was like,
So your mom was glad that Arya did it, and you were pissed that she did.
Oh, I was livid. Oh, I was like, this little bitch took this victory from fucking Jon. I mean, yes, it's cool that Arya did it, but it would have been more meaningful if Jon would have done it.
Oh yeah. Well, I think everybody expected, because they gave you so many clues and so many stare downs, that there were going to be this moment where they were going to throw down.
This HBO series has been amazing, but literally I looked on my phone and said, fuck HBO. I was like, that pissed me the hell off.
Well, dude. I thought like, what the hell's going to happen now? And then they fill you in with the preview of the episode 4, where you see Daenerys going, how'd you say it? We survived the last fight, and now we're gonna whatever she says when she talks about going to the King's Landing. And then it shows her kind of having the respect of the men, because I mean, despite what you think, she did go in like a boss with those dragons and was fucking things up and doing all kind of shit to help out.
Took this kill from Jon, I want Jon to take Jaime' kill for Cersei. I want him to slice her throat.
It's not going to be Jon that does it.
I want it to be, because they took.
I know.
They took Jon's kill.
But that's the kind of guy Jon is. I mean, he's not looking to always be the one to do everything, right? And that's why it was so out of left field to watch Arya come out of nowhere and jab that fucker in the heart.
You sound like a Marvel actor. You can't give away any answers. You're just like, yeah, I know.
Yeah. But now, I mean, the long night's over. Now they got to regroup, and they're seriously depleted after losing tons of I don't care. A lot of their soldiers in the battle. Now they have to figure out how they're going to rally and go to King's Landing and finish it.
I don't care how many good swordsmen you have. You're going to need a shit ton more.
Yeah, because it's the Golden Company and the Lannister army are just like, sitting around chilling in King's Landing. They're going to be fresh.
Oh, yeah.
And you have Jon, and you have the North. You have the North that just, took, was fighting for hours and just took a serious ass whooping. And now, but, the only thing that they'll have on their side is that nothing that they can come against now is going to even compare to what they fought in Winterfell.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't care how good the Golden Company is. They're not going to give them a test as much as they were just tested at Winterfell.
Right. There's nothing more that can test them.
No, and from the preview of this coming episode, it's coming out tonight. There's still a good number of Unsullied. The Dothraki are gone.
Oh yeah, no, there's no.
But I'm sure there's still
be a few Dothraki.
Right, but there's also some wildlings left. I know that. But it's going to be a really crazy episode tonight.
I swear, if Arya takes any more shit, takes away any more kills, I'm done.
No.
I'm not gonna watch the series finale.
But I was excited about the long night, the big battle. But now I'm really starting to get excited of what do they do now?
Yeah.
They're gonna go have another battle in King's Landing. How are they gonna overcome these odds? How are they gonna take over Cersei? Who's gonna kill Cersei? All this stuff I'm waiting for, and so I'm super stoked for tonight.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's gonna wrap it up for today's podcast. We wanted to keep it under 30 minutes, but there was too much shit to talk about. We hadn't done it in a while. But if we're going to keep coming, we're going to keep doing the episodes of the Game of Thrones. We have 3 episodes left. Episode 4 is tonight. So keep tuning in to the Nerdified Podcast. You can follow us at the Nerdified Podcast on Facebook, like our page, Nerdified Podcast on YouTube and SoundCloud. Follow me on. I hadn't really been on Twitter because I've been busy, but I'm still on there. I'll be able to tell you when we drop new episodes. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for continuing to listen, and we'll talk to you next time. Later.